Hey, Sarmite, how are you?
Hello, I'm very good. Great to see you again.
It has been a while, huh?
Yes, it's been like
When?
2 years, perhaps.
I think 2 years, and it all started with this,
With PineSkins.
with PineSkins.
Yeah.
And it's so after 2 years, it's still laying in my studio, and it's still like have this really fresh foresty smell of it. So I'm really happy that you are still in my presence. You are still in the presence in my studio. So thank you in advance for this one.
You're welcome. That's really one of my favorite things about the PineSkins project, because it has this natural aroma. I never, manipulated it in any way. It just stays there. And even the oldest pieces that I have, which must be now 6 or 7 years old, they're all still the same. They all still have this this smell, which is really great. It's like a nice attribute to a material that not all materials have, right?
Yeah, and it's a bit paradox because I live in a forest, but I don't have too many pines here in the neighborhood. Yeah. So this is really a good add-on to my studio smell. So thank you. Hey, and Sarmite, how did it happen that we have contact again?
So for the last year, I've been working with a friend together on Bio Textile, which seeks new application possibilities for post-consumer textiles. So it's all those textiles that basically we wear and then we throw them out.
Okay. Hey, so can I interrupt sometimes?
Yeah. Sure.
So Bio Textile, what?
That means that the fabric itself consists of fibers that come from post-consumer waste, and they are binded together with the natural binders. So that together makes it not 100% a textile anymore, right? Because it has morphed into half bioplastic, but it still has the origin of textile. That's why we call it a biotextile.
Can you tell a bit more about the specifics of this material?
Exactly. So when we investigated how can we contribute towards a more circular economy, we knew that there is this growing amount of textile waste. Because these days we buy more and more and more, and we throw out also more and more. And in fact, the amount of textiles that are being recycled is very, very low. It's actually under 10%, I think even lower than that.
It is a bit growing. So I think the recycling industry is getting more and more involved on this point.
Exactly.
And the chains are more connected to each other, but
yes, they are. And while we strive for creating more clean textiles, which would mean 100% cotton, 100% linen, or 100% wool, we also need to face the reality that there's so much of those textiles that have mixed origin, which means that if I buy a sweater, it will have 50% cotton, 25 polyester, 10 acrylic, maybe the rest is wool. So especially those kind of textiles are the most difficult and problematic to recycle, because it would mean chemical recycling.
Yeah.
And that is really expensive, and that happens very little. So we said,
and still a bit pollutive from that point. So
yes, exactly. Yeah. So with my friend, also a designer, we then possessed the question, hey, so maybe it's time to accept that within this time of production and fast fashion, we have also created a new material, which is not anymore about the single fiber, so not about cotton anymore, not about polyester, but actually about all the sum of the fibers that is inside it. And that is exactly that kind of fiber that we chose to work, one that possesses the most difficulties, to be properly recycled. So we created that, we looked at the fibers as a mass of, that needs some kind of binding, because those fibers, those are difficult to bind with traditional textile techniques. So we looked for alternatives, and one of them came out to be using natural binders.
But this is a new approach, right? A new kind of a new perspective on this point, that you looked at it as a new resource on this point.
Exactly, a resource that is in massive amounts. And so far, this resource is being recycled into very functional products, such as mattress fillings, coat insulation, wall insulation. So everything that only has one time use, and then it somehow goes back to waste. And probably it doesn't go anymore to the recycling centers, it goes to waste.
Yeah.
And so we say that we have created a system in which we can use these fibers. We make them our material, but afterwards the material can be dissolved and shredded back to fibers again, which can be used again to make new textile.
Let me try to understand. So you collect all different kind of textiles, whether it is polyester or cotton or wool, or doesn't matter. You put it into one bowl, then shred it and make kind of yarns or fibers, or what
a bit more specific. We collaborate with textile recycling centers who produce the fiber already. And they have different kinds of fibers. They have 100% of polyester fiber, which is very easy to be recycled into new threads. There is no challenge for us as designers into that. But they also have 100% cotton fibers, but then they also have the mixed ones. And those mixed ones
the
are
difficult ones, the part that we don't know, well, what can we do with it?
Exactly. Another problem that we see from the industry is that exactly the mixed fibers, since they don't have really that many application possibilities, they also shred all kinds of colors together, and then in the end it comes out as this gray material that everyone knows from construction materials and blankets. And that doesn't help the situation either, because the material they produce is so ugly that it's hard to do something with it. We are then buying specifically single colored fibers so that we can, either combine it ourselves in color combinations that we desire. So for example, there's one black and white. And this kind of creates like a marble kind of pattern, which we can create, which also emphasizes the whole concept of the material, that it's the fibers that you see, the fibers from their previous lives that all came together and created this new kind of aesthetic.
Is there some kind of help that we can provide, or can we do a shout out or a reach out that you are in need of some parties of this industry? Or
recycled textile fibers is definitely one aspect that we struggle, because the whole recycling system usually works with tons and tons of materials. So very often the conversation goes like this, where I would say, I would like to have white fiber, and they say, okay, 4 tons is fine. And I'm like, as a small studio, we are planning, we want to grow, and we want to develop further professionally, and really I believe in this project so much that it can grow, but I'm not there yet.
So from a distance and from this first impression, I already am thinking about possibilities. So you're pointing out that you're on this point of leverage to come out of this research studio kind of phase and trying to industrialize your material, right? So it sounds a bit like a scale up on this point.
I'm curious to see how far it can go, and that is one step that I was not able to fulfill with PineSkins. Like I always ran into the issue that I never had enough, while I believe that I would love to do more, and I see so much potential and possibilities, to play around with this material in terms of thickness, colors, applications, all of that. So definitely scaling up is the plan.
Good. And how? So maybe this is a closing question, just a bit to round up this small conversation, because obviously you are displaying this new material. You want to display it maybe in the coming fair of the Munich Fabric Start somewhere in September.
I would love to.
Yeah, thank you. So well, let's do it. Let's do it. And then, is there any news that we can follow? Is it on your Instagram best, or is it on your website best, or?
Not yet, because it is so brand new.
We have some kind of premiere here.
Exactly. I've been looking forward for a good moment, also to launch the product, because we wanted to bring it to a state that is really ready, to be introduced, to samples, to produce material. And definitely this summer is the time when we are preparing to share more news. So I would love to combine that.
Well, keep me posted on this one, and see you in September then.
Yes, see you in September.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.